If you're a fan of a team picking near the top of the 2025 NBA draft, you're probably already dreaming of franchise-altering greatness. Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, these names have been lighting up headlines and draft boards all year. But let's slow down for a second, because while every prospect has major upside, none of them are perfect. Today, we're breaking down the biggest weakness of every top prospect in this class. And this isn't about nitpicking or tearing anyone down. This is about keeping it real. These are the issues that NBA scouts are watching closely. If these players want to thrive in the league, they'll need to improve in these exact areas. Let's dive in. 1. Cooper Flagg, loose handle. Cooper Flagg might be the #1 overall pick for a reason. He's explosive, intelligent, and plays with a rare mix of poise and intensity. But if there's one thing that could trip him up in the pros, it's his ball handling, specifically how loose and high it is. In high school and college level play, Flagg was able to bully his way into scoring positions. But against NBA defenders like Herb Jones or Mikal Bridges, that loose handle becomes a huge liability. He plays with the ball a little too far from his body and tends to rise up awkwardly into his moves, which makes him easy to poke at or trap. If Flagg wants to become a true offensive hub, he'll need to tighten his handle, develop better separation moves, and keep defenders guessing. Right now, the ball security just isn't polished enough. Think less Blake Griffin, more Jason Tatum. That's the level of control he needs to reach his ceiling. 2. Dylan Harper, inconsistent pull-up shooting. Dylan Harper is a crafty, high IQ guard who can run an offense with maturity beyond his years. He gets downhill, reads the floor, and finishes inside with both creativity and toughness. But here's the catch. If you force him to settle for a jumper, the efficiency falls off a cliff. Last season, Harper shot just 27.5% on pull-up mid-range jumpers and 29.6% on pull-up threes. That's rough, especially for a guard expected to carry a scoring load at the next level. Defenders who can cut off his drives will force him into those looks, making this a glaring issue he must address. To Harper's credit, he's a solid catch-and-shoot guy, and there's hope that with reps and rhythm, his pull-up game can improve. But right now, it's the biggest question mark in his offensive arsenal. Until he becomes a real threat off the dribble, defenses will sag and dare him to shoot. 3. Ace Bailey, selfish mindset. Ace Bailey might be the purest scorer in the draft. His bag is deep, contested threes, step backs, tough floaters. He can hit them all. But his mindset, that's what could derail him. Right now, Bailey plays like a guy who thinks he's the only one on the floor that matters. His shot selection was questionable all year, and he had the lowest blow-by rate among top prospects, showing little ability to beat defenders off the dribble. Yet instead of adjusting, Bailey kept forcing contested shots, rarely passing and often ignoring better options. Red flag? You bet. Then there's the off-court noise. Bailey reportedly refused to work out for certain teams in an effort to control his draft position. And during the combine, he claimed his bad shots were ones he practices. That might work in college, but in the NBA, teams want winners, not just hoopers. If Ace doesn't adjust mentally, he risks becoming just another high-volume scorer on a losing team. VJ Edgecombe is a coach's dream in many ways. He's a defensive monster on the perimeter, an explosive athlete in transition, and a guy who thrives playing within a team concept. But here's the issue. He's not the kind of player who can go get you a bucket when the offense breaks down. At Baylor, Edgecombe struggled when asked to create his own shot. He heavily favors his right hand, isn't a reliable pull-up shooter, and had trouble beating even college defenders off the bounce. He also rarely got to the free throw line, showing his limited aggressiveness in those isolation situations. Edgecombe's value comes from his floor, not necessarily his ceiling. He'll be a productive 3-and-D wing early, but if he wants to become a true two-way star, he has to add self-creation to his toolkit. That means working on his handle, learning to draw contact, and developing that mid-range counter. Khan Knipple is one of the most fundamentally skilled wings in this class. He plays smart, uses angles well, and has a mature offensive game. But his biggest issue is something you can't teach: speed. Defensively, Knipple just can't keep up with elite athletes, At the NBA Combine, he posted the 6th slowest time in the lane agility drill, which simulates lateral movement and directional changes. While he fared better in the shuttle run, short burst, his long-term ability to guard quick wings is suspect. Against slower matchups, he'll be fine, but teams are going to hunt him in pick-and-roll switches and force him to defend the best perimeter scorers in the world. If he can't stay in front of his man, he becomes a target. Improving his footwork, mobility, and conditioning will be critical to his NBA survival. Trey Johnson is a sniper. His pull-up jumper is silky smooth, and he shot 40% from 3 this year with a shot profile that screams NBA-ready scorer. But that outside touch masks a major issue. Johnson shies away from contact inside. You often see him settle for stepbacks rather than attacking the paint. To become a complete scorer, Trey needs to embrace contact, develop a stronger base, and hit the weight room. Otherwise, defenses will just chase him off the three-point line and let the paint swallow him up. Think Bradley Beal in his early years. He didn't unlock his full potential until he embraced physicality. 7. Kamen Maluwak, raw hands and rebounding instincts. Kamen Maluwak has one of the most tantalizing physical profiles in the draft. A legit 7-footer with absurd length and mobility. But he's not ready, not even close. His biggest issue? Hand-eye coordination and overall touch. He struggles to secure rebounds, misjudges ball trajectories, and gets stripped far too often under the basket. His Final Four performance was especially rough. He didn't grab a single rebound against a smaller Houston team. That's not just bad, it's alarming. The physical tools are there, but Maluwak has to drastically improve his coordination and basketball instincts. NBA bigs are too fast, too skilled, and too physical to let a guy develop slowly in the paint. Until he learns how to catch, react, and finish efficiently, he'll remain a project, not a prospect. 8. Jeremiah Fears, defensive liability. Offensively, Jeremiah Fears is electric. He's flashy, creative, and has that natural playmaker flair that makes scouts lean in. But on the other end of the floor, he's a serious problem. Fears is small, light, and doesn't defend with energy or fundamentals. He gets blown by off the dribble, lost on off-ball rotations, and often dies on screens. For a guard with a 6'5" wingspan, you'd expect more effort, but it just wasn't there consistently. At the NBA level, guards who can't defend get exposed quickly. If he wants to stay on the floor, Fears must tighten up his technique, add strength, and show more defensive awareness. Otherwise, he risks becoming a one-dimensional player in a league that doesn't have patience for that anymore. 9. Colin Murray-Boyles, lack of shooting. Colin Murray-Boyles is a bully in the paint. He plays bigger than his 6'7" frame, has excellent footwork, and feasts on undersized defenders. But the second you take him outside the paint, he disappears. He attempted just 1 3-pointer per game and hit only 26% of those. In today's NBA, that's a major issue, especially for someone likely to play small ball 5 or stretch 4. Teams won't run post sets for him like they did at South Carolina, so he'll need to space the floor or risk being unplayable. If Colin can develop even a respectable jump shot, he becomes a valuable glue guy. But if not, his offensive utility might be too limited for today's game. The clock is ticking, and the three-point revolution isn't slowing down. Derek Queen might be the most offensively polished big man in the 2025 NBA draft. His footwork is elite, his hands are soft, his touch around the rim is veteran-level smooth. Offensively, he already plays like a seasoned pro, able to pass out of double teams, knock down short jumpers, and exploit mismatches in the post. But the second you flip the floor, the concerns come pouring in. Queen's athletic profile is frankly alarming. At the NBA Combine, he ranked dead last in both the standing vertical and lane agility drills. Second to last in the shuttle run, bottom tier in the three-quarter sprint. There's just no hiding it. He's slow, not explosive, and not quick laterally. That means NBA teams are going to target him defensively. Pick and rolls, switch-heavy offenses, stretch fives pulling him out to the perimeter. It's a nightmare scenario unless Queen lands on a team that can scheme around him. He'll need to be surrounded by elite defenders and heavily featured on offense to offset that liability. The skill is real, but the athleticism may cap his impact. And there it is, the biggest flaw for every top 2025 NBA draft prospect. Look, no one's perfect. These are some of the most talented young hoopers in the world, but talent only takes you so far. The NBA exposes weaknesses like a spotlight on stage, and how these guys respond will shape their careers more than any highlight reel ever could. So here's the big question. Who's going to put in the work? Will Cooper Flagg tighten that handle? Will Ace Bailey learn to trust his teammates? Can Derek Queen survive in the league without NBA-level athleticism? Let me know in the comments who you're highest on and who you think might be this year's bust. Let's get real, let's debate, let's argue. Respectfully, of course. And hey, if you like this breakdown, smash that like button like Ace Bailey smashing contested jumpers. Hit that subscribe for more NBA draft content, trade rumors, deep dives, and hot takes all season long. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and to all the GMs out there secretly watching, good luck. You're gonna need it.